do not forget to do that. That would be bad. Welcome back, most of you. I'm Emily. If you don't know me, I think word got out that this course transfers to Data 101 at UBCO. Kind of a problem for me, because this course is supposed to be for the wet students. Can you raise your hands? Wet? Yeah, look around, huh? So it will cater to the wet students. We're going to use Excel, which is kind of a problem because then you're not learning the skills that you should be using for a Data 101 style class. It's a loophole. If you want to ride it, you can. That's totally fine. Just know that this is basically going to be the same as Stat 121, Stat 124, Stat 230. If you've done those, okay, cool, easy course. But yeah, that kind of puts me in a tough spot because all of a sudden the class was full. Checked, mostly wet. And then full. So I suspect a lot of you are here for maybe that reason. I'm seeing some calculus people. Yeah, okay, cool, that's awesome. So, like I said, cool that it transfers, probably shouldn't. You're not gonna learn those skills. We are gonna do stats. Heavy on the stats, obviously, because that's what we have to do. But as long as you're clear on that, right? We're not going to learn R, which we probably should be using, right? R or Python. Water engineering technology, for those who don't know, they need Excel, and so that's what we'll be using. And so as long as we're kind of clear on that, that's good. Yeah.
Well, if I'm taking this course, what would be kind of the next course that would require this course at UBCO? I'm just wanting to make sure that I'm not missing. Do you know what I mean?
Don't know. Haley, do you know what course?
I didn't check for UBCO, I only checked for UBCO.
Yeah, they'll be pretty similar. Do you know which one? But you were looking at biochem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
It would be the ones that would, so this course, all I know is it transfers to Data 101. I don't know why they did that. They shouldn't have. But like I said, it's a juicy loophole if you're into it, right? You can learn R, and I've picked a textbook that that uses R, right? It's just that we won't be doing it, right? I know R. I use R all the time. R is a statistical programming language, and so you can kind of learn it on the side if you want, but no. But we'll be using Excel as our software. Okay, so that's kind of a tricky thing for me to navigate. I did check, and because I said, well, I mean, I have to teach the wet students basically statistics and Excel, and then it transfers to this other course, which is a completely separate course. Which am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do the wet side. Okay, so yeah. Because if it ends in 28, it's a wet course for us in math. So I have checked and kind of navigated that. I did teach it last term. I want to change it completely because I didn't like what I was handed. And so going rogue. Okay. All right. Any questions about that, kind of sorting that out? And so we'll do a quick kind of just course outline day, some housekeeping stuff today, nothing crazy. And so you'll have time to ask me questions alone, probably after class if you want. Okay. I'll close this. I always joke about the air being too loud in the hallway, but it kind of is, right? It's like very loud. Now whoever shows up, it's gonna be embarrassed, but that's okay. Maybe they should be. So I'm Emily. If you don't know me, stats is my jam. So I'm pretty excited about this course. We did math together, a lot of us. Stats, maybe. And so I did my undergrad in math, and then I did my master's in stats. All at UBCO, those guys can't shake me. So I love it up there. I love it here. Okay, let's see here. There's something I wanted to say here. Okay, so like I said, if you're here for the transfer credit, that's cool, as long as we're clear on kind of that it is a loophole currently. That I know, kind of rude. I'm trying to fix it because it's kind of deceiving, right? You sign up for a class and you think you're going to learn all these skills and you're excited to learn those skills, and then you're not going to get them. Rude. I use open textbooks, obviously, because why not? We're going to use, it's called Introduction to Modern Statistics. Sounds pretty good, right? It's written by Mina Satinka Rendell, and she's one of my favorite authors. She wrote Open Intro, and so I'm kind of curious to see what she does with this one. So your guess is as good as mine. No, I flipped through it, and I like the layout, and I think it's appropriate for this course. So it's open source. You can download it. There's a slider. You just set it to free. And then you buy it for free, and then you get the PDF if you want. Or you can read it in the app. Open in Safari. Sure. Okay. So we're going to just kind of learn about data. What do we do with data analysis? I saw a couple of you at the presentations in December. And so I kind of got a good understanding of what you guys need. So what needs for their final presentations. There's a lot of sampling involved, right? And so I'm gonna have to supplement a little bit with sampling techniques into here, because usually we just kind of skim it and we say, oh, if you need to collect data, like actually collect data, just hire someone, right? Is usually the main message. You guys actually have to collect data. So we should probably talk about how to do that properly, okay? But yeah, in terms of the material, there's a ton of chapters, but they're itty bitty. They're just little bite-sized chapters. So we're gonna try to work through chapters 1 through 23 for sure. And then 24 through 27 if we have time, kind of, you know. There's always that little bit, if time permits, we'll do this. Lofty goal that we never get to. So let's see here. What's fun about this being a new course is I can get jiggy with it. If there are things that you want to learn, I can incorporate that. Like I said, stats is my jam, and so I can kind of, you know, do whatever you guys want. I know you're coming back from your work terms, maybe, and so curious to know if you have any stats questions there. Probably helps to know what stats is. What is stats? Oof, no one really knows, not even people hiring for a stats job, which is kind of unfortunate. Stats is whenever you want to compare things, right? Essentially, if you have two groups and you want to compare these two groups, right? I tend to use business examples, and I'm trying to do water examples, but I don't know very much about water. Well, let's say water flow. That's a good one, right? Did the flow from one year to another year, did it change? Did it change significantly, right? And so, so that's, you would need stats to answer that, right? Whenever you want to say that something is significantly different from another thing, right? Then you need stats. Okay? That's why you have to take this course. Any questions? Comments? Concerns? Like I said, it's a new course. It's kind of, I didn't like how it happened last term, so I'm changing it. And so kind of a choose your own adventure. Check this out. Well, okay, obviously assignments. I've decided to do 4 quizzes, which breaks up the evaluation scheme, right? 10% each. And so that's nice. It gives me more check-in points, right? And so quizzes, right? Oh, that's easy. Quizzes, what a joke. Final evaluation, that doesn't really mean anything, does it? And so here, you've got options. Where's my pointer? Been a while. It's my first class back, so I guess I'm lost. We can either do a formal final exam in the final exam period, or if you prefer, because it is a data science course, we could do a final project and presentation. I will say I'm leaning towards a final exam. Okay? And the only reason for that is because, but you'll have a say, but the only reason for that is because last term they said, well, obviously we want to do a final project and presentation because then there's no final exam that I need to work around. That's awesome. But then when it came time to do the final project and presentation, turns out it's a lot of work. And that's tough in the final exam period. And so, so they were kind of like, well, can we do a final exam instead? It's like, no, it's done. We committed. And so, so I will give you that kind of warning that that's what happened last term, and it is a lot of work, right? A final presentation and a project for 40% of your grade, you should expect that to be a lot of work, right? Whereas a final exam, like I said, and I am kind of leaning towards a final exam to put you out of your misery. You know, you've had the quizzes, you've worked up to this material with the quizzes, and then the final exam is, you know, kind of what you would expect, all the quizzes together, the last little bit, and that's it, right? And so this is also me trying something. Are you guys able to log into Moodle? Yeah. Okay. Because I am trying a thing, and now it says questions, but there's only one. I saved my funny for later, hiding it. But if I go in as a student, I wreck the whole system, so I can't. In week 1, there's a little mom question or a mom quiz. My Okanagan math, Steve set it up, called course outline questions. It's really just one question. And you can change your answer, I think. Let's see here, resume. Does it show up? Oh, I have students. That's cool. This is my first time doing this. So here are my guinea pigs. Hey, check this out. Because they're logging in like crazy.
I'm just waiting for instructor to start the questions.
Uh-oh, how do I do that?
The open student
Yeah,
just update it online.
Oh, did it? Awesome, thanks.
What's that? My question. Got it. I got it.
You got it?
I think I got it.
Nice.
There.
There's no right answer, obviously. And I'm curious because I didn't set the right answer. Is it not working? Oh, it's working. Can I see what it looks
Oh
like?
yeah, sure. Just like that. Kind of looks like a.
Yeah, like a. Oh.
You convinced me.
And how do I see show? Oh, there. Wow, look at my convincing abilities. Feeling pretty good. Hey, I feel like that was a revolt one. Yeah. Hey, that's kind of fun.
Got it.
That's data. And probably not the best way to collect it, but information nonetheless. Let's see here. This puts us 22 too. Close enough. There's supposed to be 30 people in here though. Yeah.
Is there an option to negotiate the final exam for 30%?
Now you're getting it. Sure. What do you want to do with the other 10%?
I don't care.
Maybe actual assignments. I don't know. Let's see what people think about that. But
Extra 10% for everyone.
yeah.
You get 10%, you get 10%, you get 10%. Hey. Yeah. No, for daring task, what question? Can I? Oh yeah, I'll think about it, all right. You guys are ready to commit to attendance? Hmm?
I am pushing out 1 second.
Oh yeah. You know it's at 8 a.m., right?
I think everyone's gonna show up for this after like 3 weeks.
I suspect no, but I am curious. I could do something like that because I would like to do kind of some group things. And so if you've been in my class before, then you know that it's pretty high on the skippable list, which makes it pretty boring for me. But I like to be cool like that because you're all adults and you can make your own decisions. And so I did it kind of on the sly. Well, maybe not successfully, but I do host my lectures in Zoom. And then I record them and then I post them on YouTube and you can get caught up if you have to miss class. And so I do like to be flexible like that, but it means that my attendance kind of dwindles.
Yeah, last semester was also like 5 of us in class.
So it's got, you know, I didn't make one. I only made one question. For another day, I can. And so I do want to try to do some group work, but also as a student, obviously I didn't like group work, so it feels kind of counter to what I liked myself. And so I'm kind of flexible there, but it does kind of decide how I structure the rest of the course, obviously. And so I didn't make a poll question. I'm scared to ask because now you're all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It's the beginning of classes. Yeah, you're gonna be here. You're gonna be a good student, right? But then, just before a reading break rolls around, then what? Huh? You're swamped. I know that. You're not gonna show up. You'll get caught up on it later. But will you? I'm not committing to anything. I'll think about the 30%. I'll also have to ask my chair if that's okay. Traditionally, math courses, math and stats, we have a 40% kind of final evaluation. But if I come up with something rigorous, maybe a 10% presentation. Well, that's pretty good. No, let's not get crazy here. I actually kind of like the 10% presentation idea. Man, I have good ideas. The narrator says.
I think the problem with that is it makes you have to do both anyways, so.
I know, I only
it's the
gave you the
worst.
illusion of choice. The illusion of choice, I know. I'll ask about the 30%. It might just be a no-go and then it's fine, right? We could even do kind of like a midway presentation so it's not so heavy on the back end, right? Something like that. Okay, so as it says, this bullet will be updated because, and then I'll repost the course outline so that you have it. But I think from those results, we'll do a final exam, right? Scheduled final exam. 3 hours, sit down, do it. Everyone's kind of used to that. It's not fun, very stressful, but right, it's kind of contained and then you can move on with your life. Okay. Any questions? No. Any other fun ideas? No. I've got some fun ideas for the quizzes. Have you guys done those tests where you do a test for half the class and then you do it again with a group to work through it together? In chemistry? Yeah? How did you like it? I want Stefan on my team too. I think that is probably a good way to go. I really like it. I haven't done it before, but I think it would be really valuable just to kind of be able to review the test immediately after and kind of work through some problems. I know I've got some wild and crazy ideas. That one's not one of them, I guess. That one's pretty established. It's been done. As I was marking the final exams last term, I thought, what if I could do like a personalized final exam? Like if you're able to show me that you know a concept really, really, really well, do you have to do it on the final exam? These are just my musings.
Really not good at it, I want to update on the final.
Okay, that's fair. But you'd have a way shorter final. Huh? Help you study. Mhm. These are just things I muse about. Okay. So I'm talking a lot, but not saying anything. I know that. So let's talk about important dates. We made it here, so you know classes started. Blah, blah, blah. Reading break, that's a fun one. But if you're like me, you've already jotted it down in your
I don't know what it is.
planner. Do they hand out planners anymore? That was like my favorite part. So it's always attached to Family Day, which is February 17th. And then it's that whole week to get it off. Something to look forward to, I think, right? I usually try to do my tests and stuff before reading break, so you actually get a break. I know a lot of people try to do that, and so that makes that week kind of stressful, but then you can have a week to relax. And yeah, term 2 is kind of a slog. It's long. There's no long weekends to look forward to. It's just reading break. And that's all we get. So term 2 is kind of tough that way. One thing that I do want to highlight here is the last day to withdraw with a W. Okay. And March 14th feels like ages away. I know that. But if you suspect or kind of feel like by March 14th, you're going to have a really good idea of where you sit in this course, right? And so if you kind of make a calendar notification saying, hey, if I don't think I'm going to pass this course, you need to withdraw, okay? You're from my end, you're more than welcome to stay, but strategically, it doesn't make sense because a W doesn't count towards your GPA, whereas a fail does, okay? And so if you're playing that game, then that's a date to look out for, okay? And last day of class is April 11th. And then a pretty short exam period for some reason. Usually it's a little bit longer, but that's more for me than for you. How are they going to schedule it all? I don't know. They can't even do it with a longer time. So who knows? Okay. These learning outcomes are just kind of automatically generated from a different course that was that used to be available, and so now they're just kind of hanging over our heads. They're going to be updated with the TAC accreditation learning outcomes, and so you can kind of ignore these, but generally we will be learning these learning outcomes, but just so you know, I didn't write these up. You can kind of ignore. My pen is big. Ish. Ignore it. We'll still do all those things, but maybe not logistic regression so hard. But that doesn't mean anything to you guys, I don't think. So it's okay. Okay. Like I said, we're going to try to cover most of the textbook. Definitely chapters. They call them chapters. I thought they were sections because there's so many, but they're just little bite-sized sections. And then 24 through 27 if we have time. Right? But usually I like to gauge the class and see if we need to do more review instead, or if you're kind of able to take on more material. Department policies are also auto-generated. I don't do makeup quizzes, right? We're gonna have 4 quizzes. 10% each. They're not very big, but if you miss one, I care about you. I don't care about the reason you missed the quiz, okay? And so if you miss a quiz, it goes on to the final exam, okay? I'll do that for 2 of the quizzes, right? So kind of half those grades, 20% to the final exam. Okay? I'm not gonna do all 4 because yikes. That'll give you an ulcer just thinking about it. 60% final exam is kind of tough, right? And so then I know what you're thinking. Well, if I'm not prepared, what if I just skip a quiz? Let it go on my final exam. So how about this? If you do better on your final exam than on a quiz, I'll pretend you didn't write it for 2 of them and shift them over. Kind of same policy as I have for the tests, but for 2 of the quizzes instead of 1 of the tests. Okay. If you've had it before. Okay. But I can't do that until you've written the final exam, obviously, but I do it before I post your grades. Okay. And so it's always better to just write the test, right? Sorry, the quiz. One term I had this class and they're like, why do you have to call it a test? A test sounds terrible. So then I started calling them inventories of knowledge, which, yeah, they thought was mildly amusing, but quizzes. That's lofty, that's breezy, right? And so, yeah, so if you're, not able to write a quiz, that's okay. Like I said, you're all adults, you can make decisions, but it is always better to just write the quiz and then have it shifted to your final exam if that's the case, right? Because all I care about is you're improving, right? That's my main goal. I know, weird, right? Is that you're actually improving and learning this material as we go through the course. So here's a bit of a pickle. A math department policy says that you have to get at least 45% on the final exam in order to be able to pass the course. Okay? You have to know less than half the material in order for me to comfortably pass you. I think that's, pretty reasonable. The only times that I've had it be an issue is when people didn't realize that. I do bring it up at the end of the term, but and then they just, oh, well, I just need 15% on the final to get whatever grade. And then they just didn't study for it or whatever. I can't explain it, but right, if you're doing so well, why wouldn't you just keep doing so well? I don't know. And so if you can't get to that 45%, right, that's less than half the material, right? And so I think that's pretty reasonable. As a fun kind of thought experiment, 45% sounds more harsh, I think, than you have to pass the final to pass the course. Everyone's like, yeah, of course, yeah, sure, that sounds reasonable. But then you have to get 45%, which is actually lower than 50%. It's like, hey, what are you trying to pull here? I know, it's weird, right? Okay. So you are allowed a calculator. In fact, I encourage it. Bring your favorite calculator. That's great. Because we are going to focus on the kind of software style stats, I'm tempted to let you use Excel for the quizzes. And so just because of probability calculations and things like that. And so closer to the first quiz, we'll make a decision. But you guys are so good, brought your laptops, you're ready to go. That's cool. So hopefully that isn't a problem, but I do expect you to have a laptop available for the quizzes. Okay. I know. AI galore, right? I'll figure something out, right? But you guys won't cheat. No. My thing with artificial intelligence is we should be using it, right? It's kind of like I get super frustrated when students contact me and I'm kind of like, well, did you Google it? Did you? And so, but when I was going to school, we were told we weren't allowed to Google stuff. Well, you can't Google it. What? You can't Google it? Yeah, of course you can Google it. I want you to Google things, right? That's how we learn. That's how we learn to do things. When I worked in industry, so I've worked at a market research firm and as an analyst for a financial institution. And so just kind of, I started my own business, but it was way too much work. And I started teaching instead. And so, but it was a reporting business. And so kind of writing reports. Everyone wants a dashboard though, or did at the time. Yeah. We'll talk about dashboards. But anyways, and so we should be kind of embracing artificial intelligence. I don't think it's going anywhere around this. AI is? Yeah, I know. That's what's so funny is, well, I mean, they could be using Chat GPT to be doing these things, and I'm kind of like, well, Chat GPT just makes it up though. It's getting better. It's improving, obviously. But when it first came out, I would give it kind of some programming questions, and it looks beautiful. It looks just so good. But then you start trying to run it, and it's just junk because it was initially just a text predictor, right? Oh, after this, I usually see this. After this, I usually see this, right? And so it looks reasonable. It's learned a lot since then, and you can use it to help you learn, right? And so I encourage that. But obviously, if it's a quiz and it's meant to be your knowledge, an inventory of knowledge, probably we know we can't use it. So, because I'm leaning towards kind of an open book situation, I won't give you a formula sheet. If I find that we're better off doing a closed book situation, which in a way is easier, right? Because I can't make the questions as hard, right? Then I would give you a formula sheet. We'll kind of gauge the crowd as we get through the course and the material. And then, of course, the final exam is cumulative, the entire course, not just the bite-sized quizzes, but all of it. Any questions about that? Okay. There's all these resources, but I've seen a lot of you kind of in the shared office. So I know you're not here for your first year, first term. And also I know what you have a whole information session on all the resources available to you. But there are lots of resources, right? Counseling, etc. Okay? And so I like to point you to Kate in the Learning Center, or whatever we're calling it now. They keep changing the name. Used to be the Success Center, but now I can't remember what it's called. I'm going to change it to Student. Okay. Oh, that's what I didn't say. So here's my cell. Okay. Jot that down. It is, so I give out my cell because I find that it's kind of the quickest way of getting through questions. right? And so you're more than welcome to email me. It just feels less urgent on my end. Kind of like, oh, I'll check my emails. You know, I gotta sit down and check my email. No, I do it on they all go to my phone. It doesn't matter. But if you need to get a hold of me, you can text me. Don't call me. That's weird. And I won't answer because my ringer is never on. So there you go. And so, and don't leave a message because, man, that's annoying. To go in, check my message, delete it. Anyways, and so I'm always available. Feel free to text me whenever, right? I do find that just kind of formulating the question helps, right? You have to sit down and really think about what your question is. And so, and if you're texting me, just maybe let me know who you are in the first text exchange, because otherwise I won't know who I'm talking to. I like to play it cool, right? It doesn't matter to me, you know, you got questions, but it might be nice for me to know. And so, like I said, so when you're working on a problem, I do find that it's a little bit quicker. You know, you've done work, you've got your written work, you can send me a picture of it. I can look at it, can kind of send you a picture back or something like that. I can mark up your picture and kind of get it off my plate, but also get it to you sooner, okay? And so, I know it's not my phone. Doesn't make sounds. And so, right, if you have a question, then just, you can email me, you can text me. I am really good at avoiding Teams. See what I did there? There's so many modes of communication, and I just find Teams really clunky, and I don't like it. And so I don't have it installed on my phone. So I have to wait until an email comes in. I know, it should be better. Maybe this term I'll do it. I'll finally do it. But, oh boy, so many notifications. Okay, but I do give out myself for that reason, right? I'm always available. And I know you're working on stuff sometimes late at night, right? Due dates and such. And so I'm an adult. And if I'm going to bed or something, then I don't need to reply to you. I try to, right? But you don't have to worry about me when you send the text, right? Just understand that I also have other things going on, and sometimes if I'm busy, I'll just send you a quick text back and say, hey, I can't look at this now, but I will look at it later. And then I may or may not forget. No. I don't think I forgot so much as didn't have time last term, but it can happen. Then you can remind me. Yeah. Okay. Since I'm pretty much always available to you, I don't have office hours where I sit at my desk and just wait for people to show up. And then when nobody does, I complain about it because I had to sit at my desk the whole time. I don't do that, right? And so I'm usually available on short notice. You can, really what I mean, I don't mean set up an appointment. You can just text me and say, hey, are you on campus? I'll probably be on campus. And yeah, come on by, or no, I'm just heading to class, but I'll be back at this time, whatever. And so we can meet on Zoom too if you're not on campus. And so I'm open to that. Okay. But really, yeah, to set up an appointment sounds pretty harsh, but all I mean is if you don't want to walk to my office to see if I'm there, you can text me and ask if I'm in my office. Okay. And so I always joke that if I'm in my office, it's my office hours. And so, and same thing, I'm an adult, If I'm busy, I'll tell you, right? Oh, sorry, I'm working on this. Can you come back? You know, when can you come back? And so, good. Oh, that's what I forgot. Usually I send out a test announcement, but then that gets confusing because it makes you think that we have a test, right? But just to make sure that it's going out to everyone. But I forgot to do that, so oh well. Wait till I need it, I guess. So the Zoom classroom link, I use the same Zoom room always. And so the meeting ID is here. So if you want to join class just on Zoom, you're welcome to. It'll just be my voice and my screen. Obviously, I don't have like a big glam setup. Maybe I should. No, and we don't have those fancy classrooms where the camera follows you around. So I know. Yeah, I don't think we're getting that for a while. So have you seen those? There's like these fancy cameras that are in the ceiling and they follow you. I've tested it. I teach at UBCO sometimes, and they have them. I know. But so I've tested it. Pretty fun. Okay, so like I said, I do record whatever this blabbering introduction class is today. I do record the classes. I won't record it if it's kind of a group work situation, right? If nothing's happening, it's just kind of noise, then I won't. That's for this class specifically. And so it'll be kind of sporadic, I suspect. But how about this? If I want to do group work on a day, I'll let you know in advance, right? Then you can say, okay, I can do this. I can wake up and be there for 8 a.m. I can do it. Hey, I have to be here. I know, that's the rub, I think. That's why people get so upset with attendance. But I try not to let it bruise my ego. My ego is fully intact, actually. So I didn't get very far, but I'll give you a breakdown of what I expect to be doing each week. And so here we are on Tuesday. I don't have a pointer when I'm online. So here we are on Tuesday. Introductions, this is it. And then on Thursday, we'll do introduction to data, kind of just learning some terminology that we need. I know that's boring, but necessary, right? Can't talk about things if you don't know what they're called. And so it's pretty important. And so I'll break down each of the weeks and I'll make a note if it's a group work day on there. Okay, so this is the old playlist because we don't have a video yet, but I'll create a new video or playlist, I should call it. And so all the videos that I make from class will be on my YouTube. Got so many videos. I know, but I'm not, I don't think I'll be YouTube famous anytime soon. Not at all. This whole playlist only has 111 views. It's from last year. But I know, I always joke, be sure to like and subscribe. No, you don't have to do any of that.
I like videos.
What's funny is I can't see who likes them. I'm just kind of surprised when a like pops up. What? They liked it. They really liked it. So, okay. I feel like there was more housekeeping to do. It's always housekeeping with the first day, I find. All right, getting to know each other. All right. Trying to think. I didn't make a list even. Just came in here, guns blazing. This isn't the course you thought it was gonna be. I know, but it is a juicy loophole, I will say that. So, might be fun. All right. Any questions? Leaving with more questions than you had when you came in, maybe. What was that? What happened in there? And so we'll call it there. I don't have anything else to say. You've got the textbook, right? Maybe flip through it, have a read through it, and we'll kind of talk about data terminology next day. But I don't like to do material on the first day.
As a not-wet student, I have some questions. I think there's probably some other.
Yeah, so if you're not in wet, you're welcome to stick around and we can kind of chat it out. Yeah, because I do understand that it's kind of a weird situation, right? But with that, I release you. You're welcome to stick around. Go enjoy your day. I'll see you on Thursday.